Am I speaking to Joanne's subconscious?
The higher self and the subconscious are here, and others are here to help you with this important connection today.
Thank you for being here. Um, as I'm sure you can understand, Joanne and I are very confused. We thought that the broadcast would happen this morning at 6 a.m. in New Zealand, and we're just wondering why it did not occur as we thought.
The base of it is starting in the other countries. That is not the start of New Zealand, and the assumption that it was going to be New Zealand is because of the fact that New Zealand has the first time zones. Actually, a smaller country does as well, but Joanne doesn't want to acknowledge that, but it is fine. There is more, the broadcast is still happening. We want you to be reassured of that. And it is based in a different country, the starting point of it. And that starting point is significant to the time. And so it will just all roll back over that. It is very confusing because Joanne's like, well, why the hell did you let me think that this could have been New Zealand first? And it is a case of user error. She did assume that it was going to be New Zealand first because of her pride for her country and her understanding of it. We told her it was going to be the 8th. And so she was told by other people in sessions it was going to be their 6th, 6 a.m. And it is still going to be the case. So she was wondering, how can it be her 8th? And we're going to say to her that when we answered it, it was the petitioner who was asking us the question, when is she going to experience the broadcast? And we responded to that petitioner the answer. She, the petitioner, who was in the Americas, is going to experience it at 6 a.m. her time, and she wakes up on the 8th. And Joanne is like, sure. She's kind of like, tell me another one. And this is what we see is happening. And so it is confusing because you have made assumptions and you've set your minds to it. Just like Andre is going to experience it at his 6 a.m. because he is more closer to the original time. So the original country, Joanne is seeing the word Geneva, and she wants to know if that makes sense, that is the first place that is going to have the time rolling on. She wants to ask Andre, is Geneva just before you in time zones?
Andre is not completely sure, but I do know that it's very close to my time zone, within a few hours.
Okay. So she couldn't, when she was wondering what the hell has been happening, she was trying to say to you, Geneva, but she couldn't even pronounce it properly. And she is concerned because it's the Greenwich time zone. And even then she's like, oh yeah, that's how you pronounce it. So she has been devastated because she's ashamed of her assumption that it was going to be New Zealand. Why couldn't it have been New Zealand? She loves her country and she wanted it to be first. She wanted all the pain for her country to be released first. This makes her still so sad.
We understand, that we have made the error here, and it is very important to Joanne. And I have just checked Geneva time. It is 1 hour ahead of me, so very close. Subconscious. Joe was wondering, is she's having doubts about her whether the information coming through in some of the sessions is genuine or not. Can you clarify that all the information that has come out over the past weeks and months and sessions has been from you and has been genuine?
Yes, our information that she has requested from her sessions, if she has been the petitioner or the client, it is true. It is 100% true. However, the information has to be applied And you ask us questions and we give you your answers, and then you get to take away from that and unpack that. And when you have made assumptions of some of the information, such as New Zealand being the first country to have this broadcast, it is going to be confusing for you, because you will want to blame us when we have never lied. We have given you the information you are asking. The questions are very important. And as we said, this is user error, but the lesson she's experiencing now through this simple devastation and humiliation, because she hasn't been perfect with her questionings, and she is kicking herself now to see that there was that massive assumption. So we're telling her that this is to remind her that she is still human, and that the mistakes can be made. They're not critical. No one has died from this. No crime has been made from this. She is learning who her true friends are. She is seeing who is compassionate, who is not. Also, the people who have been listening, who have also heard what we have said, their intuition should have gone, well, no one asked, where was it going to start? It wasn't ascertained. And so you have to make your own, you have to base and trust your own intuition and information from these sessions, knowing the question is very important, and then the answer to that question. And for you to buffer edges onto each other's information, onto each other's different sessions, it's very easy. You can go into assumptions and to miss and confuse yourselves with it. So this is a big lesson for everyone to really listen to the sessions, really take out what we have said to you with the answers that we have been provided for. So it is a very hard lesson for Joanne, but it is an important one, because she needs to know who her true friends are. She sees who have taken great glee in the fact that she was wrong. They want to see her trip up any way that they are so frustrated with her that if she makes one mistake, this is a very happy day for them. This is huge for them. There is many people that are secretly giggling and laughing and mocking her. And they're mocking the whole process as well, because they're not understanding what is happening here. So those friends, she can see very clearly now who they are. And she had suspicions anyway that they were not genuine and that they were literally hanging on just in case. So now she has released any emotional connection. She is such a loyal, diligent friend, and she does profoundly care for her friends. But this is a time when they could have actually shown compassion. And instead of showing compassion, they're pretty high on their horse, laughing at this work and just mocking it, because they don't understand it, because they don't actually want to trust their own sessions, because it means that they have to do the work, and it actually means that they have to surrender and accept the information we have given them in sessions. Ironically, so many people come to these sessions asking for this big information because they desperately need to know it. And then when they get to hear it, they're kind of like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't want to trust this. I don't want to go with the plan. No, thank you very much. Nah, it didn't work for me. The information wasn't quite correct. I wasn't really feeling it. I was not unconscious during the session. I was making it all up. I mean, we hear time and time again, not just with Joanne's clients, but with all of the clients who don't really want to process the information we're providing, which is incredibly frustrating for us, because your lives would be so much more easier if you, first of all, ask the right questions from us, and also unpack the information correctly. So we understand this is very human, and you are learning lots of lessons along the way. We understand that Joanne is probably feeling much more embarrassed about this than she needed to be, and this is all fine. she got an assumption of a time zone wrong, and that is it. And it doesn't mean anything. And people who have judged her publicly and privately, they will have that on their consciousness because that is their own shadow work. So it's got nothing to do with her, and she has detached herself emotionally from the criticism because it's not her information. And while she tried very diligently to get all the information for you all, she did have this one hiccup and one short-sightedness. And that is going to just be like the forever stubbed toe and the forever big ulcer in her mouth, where she will just keep feeling the frustration of it, and she will never truly release that frustration and shame, because she knows it was meant so much to so many people. So she's just having a little bit of an inside day today in her mind, and seeing who's there for her and who's not, and who wants to have fantastic parties of her demise and love the fact that people are seeing her being not perfect.
Thank you very much. And I hope you don't mind me asking this, but I think the answer would be really beneficial to Joanne as a practitioner moving forward. When you talked about us asking the right questions, I totally understand that. But why is it that you couldn't redirect the questions or redirect us to a question that would get the right answer? Does that make sense?
There is so much that we know, and we cannot just start telling you everything that we know. We are waiting for you to ask the questions that you want to know. This is about your free will. We can't give you the information because you actually have to ask us for it. And so it is, while we try to help explain a whole lot of the concepts and the details to answer your questions, we can't suddenly just say to you in 3 weeks' time, Andre, when you're in the car and a bird shits on your car screen, don't get distracted because you could hit a pedestrian, for example. You're not asking that information, and this is totally not going to be the case. Don't stop driving in the car for 3 weeks. We're trying to say to you that we see all and we know all, but we also balance the information and the reactions. The fact that we knew she was assuming that it was going to be New Zealand first gave her the opportunity to see her true friends, gave her the opportunity to distance herself from the haters on the YouTube. She would have normally, because she's so diligent, she would have normally felt all of that hate and disappointment from those comments, and that would have eaten into her so profoundly. And now she's refusing to look at those comments. She can't even like open up the YouTube channel. She can't even barely open her phone because she's just overwhelmed with just deep remorse for not clarifying it, because she was trying to get that bigger picture information and try and understand more about the concepts of life afterwards. So it is very challenging to see one small oversight and not completely fall off your bike and have a pity party about a scraped knee. And it's not even a scraped knee at this point, because we wanted her to see all the people that she was suspecting weren't her true friends, who she's been so diligently holding space for. And so she has felt bad of herself because those friends haven't been nurturing that friendship properly. And she has thought it's been really her. There must be something wrong with her. And we say to her, there's nothing wrong with you apart from collecting some really shitty friends. And that is it. It's got nothing to do with you. You have done the bigger work, and you have done a lot of your own healing. And these people who don't want to do their own work, don't want to unpack it, don't want to actually do anything for themselves, and just want summarized notes so they know how to live and breathe, well, they're still indoctrinated into being programmed to be told what to do. And if they're still needing that way of approaching life, then they're not thirsty for true knowledge. They're not thirsty for information and wisdom. And they are sitting on their laurels, judging, and not doing the harder work and helping humanity. It's so ironic that most of those friends, in quotation marks, all think the light workers and they're so special and so helpful and so one with everyone. And as soon as there is a tiny little hiccup, because it is a tiny little hiccup, think about the crimes against humanity and all of the injustices of the world. And Joanne has not even cried profoundly about that, but she has cried because of her little mistake. She hasn't wanted to surrender into just releasing all of the pain and all of the horribleness and tragedies of those crimes. She is really not looking forward to purging those emotions because they're such deep, painful emotions, because it's the clarification of how challenged all of your lives are because of these people and because of these other beings having their own agendas forced upon you, even though you feel like you have not been enslaved with their systems. And you have. We've told you many times you have. And so she's exhausted wanting to have the finer clarification. She just wants this information out publicly now. And as we know, all of you want this. We understand all of you want this. And while she did give, in our sessions, we did answer truthfully the situation that is happening at hand. There was confusion of time zones only. If you'd asked us, we would have been able to clarify it. So it is human error. It is user error in this system. And it's not the first time that this has happened in terms of using this work. And a lot of people have made big assumptions before and have got down the side path. But none of her other information, everything we have said in sessions is the truth, the bigger truth. We have said this to her.
Thank you so much. That clears a lot up. It's hard for us, and we see the mistake, and Joanne will see the mistake and understand it once she listens back to this. Subconscious, Joanne saw out of her window this morning a strange light appearing behind the mountains that seemed to move. Can you explain what this light was?
Yes, that was energy, and it is starting to pour into her town set. There is beings already here trying to lighten the loads and get people ready, and so it is energy work that is happening. And while it did look like a fantastic glow, and she was excited thinking it was going to develop more, it is going to be how she sees what she will see tomorrow. It is going to be more like that, but much, much, much more. So it is going to be quite profound. It's not going to be like, wait, is that in the distance something? Oh, she's just thinking now, and she just can't do another night of waiting and then just seeing it. And what if it again tomorrow it is all not yet? It's just this pregnant pause, and it's so challengingly, excruciatingly hard to wait, and we can't tell her enough. It's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, trust, 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 trust. And she's at this point of just having no nerves left to even process this. So it is hard for her to just, she trusts us, but she has no energy to put her hopes up anymore. And this is a purging state as well. It is important for her to release all of this, to accept it and to process it better. She's going to be so much more open to the information when she's hearing it like this, after this state. Previously, if she had heard it beforehand, before experiencing this, she would just be like, yeah, awesome, got it, know it. It's all going to plan. but she still needed to experience who her true friends are. She still needed to experience reminding herself profoundly, it's like an invisible tattoo on her head now, never assume fucking anything and ask us for all information about things to absolutely 100% clarify. And there is the confusion of hearing it from other people's sessions and understanding that and applying it to herself. And she has told people don't apply other people's sessions to self because it's their information for them and it's not always designed for other people. So she knows this, and she's just having to profoundly experience it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I have a question surrounding Donald Trump and what's happening at the moment. I get the sense that something is very big is happening in the US at the moment. And when I saw Trump take off his mask on the balcony of the White House, I had some thoughts about what that represented. Can you clarify to me what he was doing when he took off his mask with such a bold statement?
Yes, he's unmasking the truth. He is being, he's being very literal here, and, he is removing the masks from humanity. He is opening up your mouths. He is exposing the truth, and he is doing it boldly. And this is a direct sign that he will no longer bow down to the forces that have been trying to control him. He has had massive battles because it's not like he can just the procedures and the policies and how he has been able to move forward and work through this isn't just, oh, I'm the king of the castle, I can just command you to do X, Y, and Z. It's so locked down because the laws in that country are still active. And so he still had limited wriggle room. It's all been about the new judges, the new politicians. It is all about removing the dark and making way to be able to change the law so he can do a whole lot of stuff to be able to get the information. Because how he wanted to expose everything and be able to get the proof actually would have been unlawful. And so he's had to diligently proceed and focus and make new laws to be able to get his mission on board. And it's ridiculous that he had to do it legally that way. If he had gone and done anything outside of the legal systems, he would have been in great trouble, and that would have compromised. And so he was having to navigate this corrupt system and unfold it and process that. And this has been a long time. He's been doing this basically from the get-go, from as soon as he was the president of America. So this isn't just a hobby on the side. This has been his total focus. And he's been so driven with this. And he is just as exhausted as everyone else, but also just so relieved it's going to come out.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Subconscious, I was wondering if you would indulge us a little bit, and just as a little treat for Joanne, to maybe describe in greater detail exactly what she will experience with the shift. She saw some things in her last session, but I think she would really enjoy experiencing a little bit more. Is that possible?
For the shift or the broadcast?
Pardon me, for the broadcast.
Yes, she will be asleep and then wake up. She's going to be so exhausted from today's experience that she will wake up and then suddenly go to the window and it will be starting. And she will see the bolder colors in the sky, and it will be starting off. She'll notice the oranges, but then she will notice a lot more of the blues and greens. And it will be something she's never seen before. So it's not going to be like, wait, is that there, over there? And it's going to be in her face. And it is just going to be a massive relief for her, knowing that it was just a day shy of her expectations, and life has given her so many disappointments and so many her expectations have been not met in all areas, and so she's used to disappointment, and she can overcome this. And when she sees this tomorrow, when it starts off, she's going to be able to roll with it, and she will just know that the people who are learning along with her will also be experiencing and processing this together. And after the broadcast, there's not going to be too many people that are still going to like rub her nose in it that she got it wrong, because they should have been listening to the broadcast. They should have been listening to the sessions and seeing that there was not clarification of where it was going to start with the time zones. And there is, that if they understood this work and understood that we were answering the question that the practitioner was asking about when it's going to start. She didn't ask when it's going to start for Joanne. She was asking when she was going to see it start. And so that's the information we gave on purpose.
Okay, thank you very much. How is Joanne's body? Is it okay? Can I continue?
Yeah, it's totally fine. She's wanting to know if you can bring in the elementals, because she thinks she wants a big giggle, but she also feels like she probably is not going to get it.
Well, can we call in the elementals to give Joanne a little boost?
Her energy is so low that they don't want to come in.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, next time, maybe next time. Maybe Joanne could go back and re-watch that segment of my session to receive some of that energy.
Yes, absolutely. That energy is timeless.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. It was one of the best moments of my life. Can I just confirm? I know you have just said this, but my wits are a little bit low at the moment, and I hope you don't mind me indulging as well. Can we just confirm that for Andre, the shift will take place in just over 7 hours and 49 minutes?
No, because the shift is in December the 21st. You're asking about the broadcast, and yes, it will be 6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
We understand.
Thank you. Okay. I want to ask some stranger questions that we talked about. Joanne is she's probably no longer concerned, but we did say we would ask this question, and you might laugh. But is Joanne really working for the dark side? Is she really a dark force trying to manipulate the light and manipulate people?
Let us see.
Yeah.
She has been working for us, and we are not the dark. We are the light, and we have been diligently helping and preparing not only her, but everyone who's been listening to our messages. And so if it had been trusted upon, if your love of self and your intuition and your healing processes had taken place in complete harmony, as we had hoped for you to have taken on board the information about the time zones, it's still very applicable to everyone. Unfortunately, Joanne assumed that it was going to be New Zealand, and everyone jumped on board. Well, not everyone. Some people are still seeing the information and thinking that it was not a given, that New Zealand wasn't going to be the first. And so it wasn't based on the day of time. It was based on the location, which was more important for significant reasons. It's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. And when the broadcast starts happening, she will be able to just surrender into it. She's still listening and she's still like, yeah, I'll see that when it happens. So she's just in this pause and she can't hold any hopes on anything anymore because she's just numb to it now. And she knows where she went wrong with it. And she trusts this work. She trusts this work more than herself. And this is the reason why she didn't double check everything. Because she does pride herself on hunting out the bigger truths.
Yeah, thank you so much. Is it possible to send Joanne some healing, actually a lot of healing, to help her to deal with these emotions and to release what she needs to release before the broadcast?
Yes, she has done a lot of it today. And, you know, she's actually released the responsibility of others, which she has, as we were saying in the last session, she cares about others and wanting to helicopter them with your love and guidance and tries to do all the diligent work and to help them. And we say to her, you're actually, because you're answering their questions, because you're trying to do it with love and trying to support them, they're not really focusing on the content, not really processing it. They're kind of like, oh, I half listen to it, and if I get a bit confused, I'll just leave some comments and Joe will just write me big long stories about it and explain it to me, and I won't really listen to them. I'll just take it from Joe. No, Joe's not the spokesperson for our information. While she tries, she's not going to be able to always get what we want out there. This is why we keep saying, listen to us, listen to the content that we provide for you. And you all make your own intuition, you can make your own assumptions and make your own mistakes. Don't rely on Joe to try and use her assumptions of this information, because she's human too, and you're actually, while you're all wanting information from her, it's actually blocking her from actually trying to find her own information for herself, because she already understands so much of our information. So when she gets to repeat it to you guys repeatedly, you're taking up that time where she could be actually focusing on the bigger questions that she still needs to answer for herself and ask us about. And so it's really important for you to be considerate of her and her energy and time, because she actually needs to be doing a lot more of this work and the sessions and using up her time. There's a lot of people that want to just be writing comments on those YouTube's channels to promote themselves, to promote their own egos, to promote their own information. And while some of them are correct, others are still blocked and limited. And so they're using people's interest in her videos to try and platform off, jump board off, and kind of grandstand this information. To a lesser extent, that's exactly what Josephine's doing by trying to make everyone think that she's, aware of much things. So yeah, there's a lot of egos in those comments, and Joe has definitely stepped back. It did truly touch her when she heard through you, Andre, that someone had written her a poem, because she actually thought, oh my goodness, fine, actually it's so nice that someone still, after all of this, someone still can see her heart. And she has never truly felt like people can see her heart, because people are so focused on what they can get from her, they never see her. She's invisible to most of them. She's just a means for their needs. They've never stopped and thought about Jo as a person, as a mother, as a human, with this mission. She's completely almost invisible to so many, and they have no respect for her because they can't see her. So for her to understand and see that actually some people do care for her, even when she has been human and has made mistakes, it helps her. It is like a band-aid on the wound that she has emotionally put onto herself.
Is Joe okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I continue with more questions?
Yeah.
Okay. That was really beautiful. Thank you so much. Subconscious, I was wondering, would you recommend that Joe and I, or just Joe, do a quick video to explain what we've been told here in this session, or is it best to just leave it until it happens?
You can share this entire thing. It is fine if you want to. It has purpose, even though Joanne's saying, oh my gosh, no. This information is still true. This is our information. And while you're all feeling it, because it's a personal situation, it may give people insight, but we also know that Joanne didn't want to share most of that message that we provided for you yesterday. And I mean, you have free will, you can do what you want with it. You know, the people who know that they have taken great joy out of Joanne making this mistake, they need to learn from that too. And, you know, they can do that in their own time, or they can hear us tell them that their approach to her and this work needs to be corrected and adjusted, because they need to get on with the program, shall we say, and get over their own issues, their own egos, their own limitations and blocks, and respect us and the vessel that we use in all of the sessions. Because if you're wanting to hold her accountable for one simple human mistake because she's passionate about her country, because she is focused on getting the bigger information about the bigger concepts about the economy and the education and the crimes against humanity, if anyone's wanting to hold her accountable for one mistake and assumption, they've also made the same mistake and assumption. So if anyone is disappointed about the time zones not happening in New Zealand first, they've also gone along with it with their own assumptions. And therefore, you're all guilty of this. Whoever has judged Joanne, you can judge yourselves, because the information was there. You could have listened to it all and made your own minds. You could have trusted yourselves. How many times have we said to trust yourselves? And don't follow the leader. Don't be peer pressured into anything. Listen to our messages and apply it and unpack it to you. We've said this to you many times, and we understand that there is a lot of people there that are new to our messages, and it's no coincidence. We have been definitely encouraging people and presenting them with this videos, with this information, because it's time for them to understand the bigger purpose here. Because they've all got missions to be able to help other people. If there's people there watching and listening to our sessions just to be able to pick holes in it, are you truly ready to be able to be of service to others? Because if you are wanting to judge others and pick holes in others, you're distracting yourselves from what you really should be picking holes with yourselves. And when there is lack of love or judgment on self, feeling entitled, still stuck in victim mode. I mean, the list could go on. So it is what it is.
Yeah, thank you so much. Could it be argued, and just for our learning, could it be argued that on one sense we're being told to trust what we're hearing, but on the other sense we're told from many spiritual sources and teachings to sort of show discernment, to ask questions, and to not blindly jump into something and believe and go with that? For instance, we've talked a lot about other famous light workers who are spreading information, and people are jumping straight into these people with all their hearts, and it's not the correct information. How can we be how can people show more discernment to this information to make their own decisions? Does that make sense?
After the broadcast, a lot of these bigger named people are going to be just as surprised. And so their followers are going to be hands on hips, tapping feet, going, "Excuse me, Missy or Sir, why didn't you tell us about this?" It's pretty huge, pretty epic. And obviously, if you had got the connections that you say you have, why didn't you give us this information? You know, they can say, "Oh, well, we thought that something was happening, but, you know, we wanted to surprise you." I mean, you can read them. Your energy after the broadcast is going to be so much more astute. You're going to be given these upgrades of more consciousness. You're going to be able to navigate between what's nonsense and what's real, because you have suddenly heard about a lot of stuff that you believe that's not real, and not true. And so, you know, we want to help you process and unpack the information in the broadcast. So we're actually going to be helping you raise your vibration to be able to find that discernment. And so therefore, when you rush on to your favorite channel, or to listen to your favorite guru to hear what they have to say about things, well, you know, surprisingly, not surprisingly, some of your favorite channels will no longer exist there, because they have not, you know, survived the situation at hand. They are actually part of crimes against humanity also. And so, you know, you're going to find you're going to be a lot of lack of icons, a lack of leaders, and a whole lot of stuff. So it's lots to unpack here and process with how you're going to be after the broadcast, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So you're not going to be this as you are now. You're going to be more evolved, and it's going to be quite a quick adjustment to it, because there's so much to unpack and feel and process. So it's going to take a lot of time for people, well, some people a lot of time, to be able to have that frequency change, that vibrational change of more inner knowing. However, if you don't have your self-love and you don't trust yourselves, you're going to judge and question that inner knowing just as much as people do now. And so, you know, this is why that love, the self-love and the self-trust, self-respect, and, you know, all the positive things that you need to be doing to keep your emotions balanced. And this is why we've said so many times in the past, is about being emotionally balanced and not swaying backwards and forwards. You can feel it, but not like really feel it with your heart, you know, like really crash down on either way. So navigating through the waves, using your discernment and emotionally knowing what feels true for you and what kind of feels a bit off, and always just trusting that. It's when you start distrusting that you have the bigger wobbles, and that is the harder thing. And that is why you both are feeling so wobbleful, shall we say. You're all over the places, because this means so much to you. Not just for the people on the YouTube channel, but because of for humanity. You can see the bigger picture here. Anyone who thinks the broadcast is not going to happen, I mean, let's get real here. I mean, there's so many signs out there. You know, you'd have to be, you know, under a cave in a rock to not understand that this bigger information has to come out. And the way that it's going to come out is very, very full on. It is a very, very, very unmissable full on experience. It's not just going to be like a little 3-minute blip of the news, shall we say. It's too big for that. It's too huge for that. It's going to be delivered exactly how it needs to be able to get the impact and the information, and to hear it all. And so, yes, it's just more questions about it, because it hasn't happened yet. And we understand that you're all like on the fence, like, oh, wow, we'll wait and see. And yes, you totally can just wait and see. That is not going to change what will be happening.
Yeah, thank you so much. That makes so much sense. How is Joanne's body? Are we
Fine. She's fine. She's feeling the bigger picture again. Even though she's kind of like, can it just be all done with? Like, She just wants it to be after the broadcast so she can just focus on life and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Subconscious. Andre today has had feelings of loss of faith, distrust in everything, and generally just being triggered by a lot. Um, is he's wondering was that more release or was that more him having a tantrum? And is it all good? He's worried that you're sort of uh, he's failing. He's not doing the right thing.
You're doing exactly what you need to do. You know that your inner work is about trusting yourself and trusting us. And so this is, you have gone deep and dark, and we know you've cursed us, and that's totally fine. Because it's understandable, and you've also gone every which way, and that's also totally understandable. You have had to go in the dark and the sides and the ups and the downs to be able to feel it for the last time. And so when the broadcast happens, you can just go, okay, I surrender full trust now. And so when you are in that, I'm totally distrusting, you're kidding yourself. You're like, I know, I believe, but I'm just so disappointed that I haven't seen it yet. And that's truly what it is. You're just in that wanting to see it and experience it and know it's happening. And the thought of it not happening is so disheartening to you, because you know what we have been saying is true. You're just impatient, and that's completely fine and normal. It's what everyone's feeling right now. So you will be okay. You will be okay. We want to keep saying to you, it's going to be your 6 a.m. It's going to be your 6 a.m. And Joanne's feeling like, oh God, don't give them a false hope. You have to be bloody true. Because it is going to be Joanne's already thinking if it doesn't happen, even though we're saying that it will happen, she's going to just be like, it's just, you can't play with us anymore. And we're saying to her, we've never played you. You've played yourselves accidentally. And so we understand you're going through lots of emotions, but you can use this time to get a sense of whether you are really feeling it or not, whether you're really, really, really feeling and trusting and believing. While you're experiencing the emotion, still check in with yourself, your core self. What do I really believe here? And you know the answer. So, Andre, what do you really believe here? What is your feelings about the event that is happening? Do you feel that the broadcast is going to be you experiencing it at 6 a.m. in your morning?
This is it's just about finding that trust. I trust and believe, but I also trusted and believed it would happen this morning, and I know that was our fault. But I suppose I don't want to set myself up for failure by giving too much trust just in case it doesn't happen. I'd rather wait until it happens and then decide, which I know is not real trust, but I'm trying to work through that.
It's fine, and you'll get to a place of feeling so comfortable with your distrust that when you experience this, then you will know that you can grow from that and have the trust. So you're profoundly marinating yourself in the distrust, and that is completely fine and normal, because that's a valid feeling too. So remember the feeling of distrust. Where does it feel for you, that distrust?
It's within myself, I think, more than anything.
Do you have a location where you feel this
In my
within,
in my body.
within the body?
Solar plexus.
Okay. Yeah. And so this is your gut intuition here kicking in, and it's a balance, because you're just trusting the information, but your intuitiveness is pushing back and saying, no, trust it. And so there is this, it's making you feel uneasy, like you're going to think you are going to have diarrhea. It's so strong. The battle between the trust and the distrust, it's like churning in your stomach, because it's this anxious energy as well as this positive energy. And so it's like drinking a big thick milkshake and then drinking Coca-Cola. And so the Coca-Cola obviously is the evil one, shall we say, and that is your distrust. And then, you know, the good soy-based milkshake that is really good because it's got a lot of protein on plant bases, and it's got spirulina in it, and it's, you know, your beautiful power shake. You know, that's you, and your pure essence is the power shake. And then you've added in this distrust, this big bottle of very fizzy Coke, and you have gobbled it down quickly as soon as you have this knee-jerk reaction of, oh my God, here it is, I can't trust it. And so, well, both in your stomach at the same time having a party. And, you know, sometimes the Coke wins the shake, and other times the shake wins the Coke. And it's this, it is like oil and water. It doesn't actually make a, you know, a shake Coke. They're very distinct. And so being able to fine tune between the good intuition and the mistrust feelings is a very fine balance, and it is very good for you to be able to notice the difference of it, and to feel into the energy of whether it's the good intuition or whether it's the mistrust, because that's going to really be strengthened for you moving forward. You already do have it. You don't need to drink Coke to be able to know you can mistrust, but you can really savor the feeling and the taste of the shake, of the smoothie is this is an analogy. So really, really sit with it for a minute and feel how you feel about how much you want this broadcast to happen. And you can feel the shake and the smoothie come to the surface, and you can taste it and the richness and the harmony of it and everything that just feels right and nurturing. And then feel into the mistrust, the Coke that's acidic and really the liquid tar. The sugar is corroding your systems and making you imbalanced and inflamed. There's a lot of analogies that we can say here, but you can use this time to be able to understand that and process that forward. So nothing to fear. You know, this is a perfect practical experience for you to be able to go through and learn from this. This is a teachable moment. This is a perfect teachable moment for both of you, and for humanity who is still focusing on this and noticing this. So, you know, this was last minute processes. So, and also, you know, the feeling when you drink the Coke, how heavy and, well, we want to make a joke and say, oh, we hope we don't get called slander with the Coke companies, but you will know about the Coke companies also soon. So we will say to you, you feel the acid of the Coke in this mix, and that is the acid of negativity and the doubt. And so, you know, you can feel it within yourself. It's so subtle, and you can miss it with more thinking. And so we say, stop the thinking, because you're all great overthinkers, and it's your conscious mind trying to distract you from the truth. And the truth is your body and your senses. And this is going to be heightened after the broadcast. Your sensitivity to the truth and to have the open more connections to others is going to be a real great blessing. But people will not understand it as much, just like how people don't understand their anxiety. Their anxiety can actually be a lot of good intuition pushing them forward, but because their mind is saying, oh, I can feel the stomach feeling, do I have food poisoning or is it just anxiety? I'm going to start labeling it and making sure I absolutely understand what's happening to my body with the knowledge that I have with the time right now. Well, so you're totally missing the energy of their intuition pushing through in the same solar plex areas. Some people have it up in their chest anxiety because it's weighing on their heart more. And so when they have a very tight, closed heart portal, shall we say, it is putting the strain of that. This is, you also have that at times as well, but you completely trust this work, even though you can have a tantrum about it, and that's totally fine. We have explained to you your assumptions as well, and that is also fine. So that we're not angry or disappointed with you at all. We're just trying to help you sense out and understand the emotions that are within your bodies. But we also know when you're feeling the milkshake and the coffee, the Coke, that the mind is still working. And so while you've got this belly rumbling, shall we say, you're also still overthinking things. And so you have to stop the thinking and the feeling of things and emotionally to be able to connect in with the energetic senses of the body, because your body is always giving you signs. So it's a body and mind duality that is always having a little battle. And most of the time, you let the mind win.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that so much.